They never looked at me. Not really, not like a person. When I first started cleaning at Halberg International, I told myself it was temporary. Just a job until I figured things out. But things have a way of dragging on when you're invisible. You stop correcting people when they call you sweetie or miss or just whistle in your direction like you're a dog. You get used to fading into the wallpaper, moving with your head down and your gloves on, eyes to the floor. I liked working the late shift. The silence of the empty office towers was almost comforting. No phones ringing, no chatter, just the sound of my cartwheels squeaking, the mop sliding back and forth over the marble, and the occasional echo of my own breath in the stairwells. Sometimes I would catch my reflection in the lobby windows and barely recognize myself. Just another cleaner in a grey uniform. But beneath that, behind the layers of anonymity and bleach fumes, I was still me. I never forgot that. Even when everyone else did. I speak 6 languages fluently: Mandarin, Spanish, French, English, Russian, and Arabic. I have a degree in comparative linguistics from a university that doesn't exist anymore. War took care of that. The rest, well, I don't talk about it. Not because it's painful, just because people only listen when it's convenient for them. But everything changed on a Wednesday night. I was scrubbing the brass corners of the reception desk, one of those stupid little things no one notices, until it's dirty, when I heard raised voices in the elevator hallway. It was past 11 p.m. Most of the building had gone dark. Only the executive floor was still lit. 3 men stepped out. They were talking fast, their voices tense, agitated. French. The kind spoken by men who wore expensive suits and thought their rage gave them volume privileges, something about a legal translation gone wrong. They were panicking. Apparently, the version of the contract sent to their Chinese investors had a clause that voided exclusivity. The deal was falling apart. Millions of dollars, years of negotiations. I kept my head down, but the words were impossible to ignore. One of the men, tall, red-faced, the kind who spits when he yells, turned to the younger one and snapped in English, "You were in charge of that translation, weren't you? I only sent what legal approved. It's garbage. They think we're amateurs." And then I spoke, quietly, without turning around. "Actually, they think you're trying to scam them." The silence that followed was heavy, like I'd thrown a glass of ice water on a furnace. I stood up slowly, wiping my hands on my apron. "In the Mandarin version," I continued, "Clause 4.2 says the buyer may pursue concurrent partnerships without disclosing financial details to the seller. That was never in the French or English versions, but it is in the one they signed." 3 pairs of eyes turned toward me like I'd grown horns. "What did you just say?" the red-faced one asked. I repeated it. First in Mandarin, then French, then Spanish. Each time I watched their faces shift from confusion to disbelief to something almost like fear. The younger one stammered, "How the hell do you know all that?" "I read it. It was left on the boardroom table." That was true. They never cleared their documents properly. I'd been reading them for months. Contracts, internal memos, HR complaints, pitch decks. People assume you're illiterate when you clean for a living. Or they just don't care. The CEO, I recognized him from the photos in the lobby, stepped forward slowly. "What's your name?" "Lucia," I said. My real name, for the first time in months. "Come with me." The next morning, the building was buzzing. For once, not with caffeine or gossip about firings, but with whispers about the cleaner, the one who shut down the CEO in 3 languages and saved the company from legal suicide. People stared when I walked past, but not like before. Now it was different. Now I was a glitch in their system, something that didn't make sense. By Friday, HR had called me into a private office. They offered me a probationary role in international compliance, said they were impressed by my initiative. They called it an internal promotion. I didn't correct them. I knew they needed me more than I needed them. I should have left then, but I didn't, and that was my mistake. The first month was intoxicating. People smiled at me now. They wanted my opinion. I had a desk, a keycard, even a stupid glass nameplate. I felt seen, valued. But the deeper I got, the more I realized how rotten everything was beneath the polish. I found documents, deliberately mistranslated ones, signed off by directors who had no idea what they were authorizing. I found emails about scrubbing internal reports before audits. I found a private chat group where department heads joked about outsourcing child labor to cut corners in Q3. I printed everything, kept a file, under my desk. Then I got careless. It was just after midnight when I got the message. A blank envelope slid under my apartment door. Inside, one photo. Me, sitting at my desk, reading a file marked internal use only. No note, no signature, just the grainy photo, clearly taken from the security cameras, the ones that supposedly didn't work in that hallway. I didn't sleep that night. The next day I acted normal, smiled, nodded. I could feel them watching me now. The compliments stopped. The meetings I was invited to got cancelled. People avoided eye contact. Even the janitors stopped talking to me. By the end of the week, my login credentials had expired. HR told me it was a technical error. Then my file cabinet disappeared. My desk was reassigned. Then the head of security asked to have a word. I decided to leave, but not before sending copies of everything to a friend in the press. A woman I trusted. I told her to wait, to publish only if something happened to me. Something did. They called it an accident, brake failure, but the photos didn't match. The impact pattern was wrong. The car had veered off a completely different road than the one I took every day. But I wasn't in the car. I watched from across the street as firefighters pulled a charred figure from the wreckage. Someone had stolen my badge, my coat, my schedule. They thought I was dead. And for now, that's how it needs to stay. I live far away now. Different name, different hair, same brain. I still read everything. I still see everything, and I never mop floors anymore. But I still know what it's like to be invisible. That's what they forgot. It's easy to dismiss someone when you think they're beneath you, but the truth is, people like me, we see everything you try to hide.